this meeting of the Warren County School Board to order. I want to welcome everybody who's here with us this evening and those who are watching online and you want to follow along. Tonight's agenda can be found at our website. That's warrenschools.com. Look under the board tab and then under meetings. Before we get started and do the accepting tonight's agenda, I'd like to take a moment for us to reflect on the tragedies that happened this morning. We all know Phyllis Prater and Gary are big supporters of Warren County Schools and our students and our community as a whole. So at this time, before we get started, I'd like for us to take a moment of silence to reflect on this. All right, thank you. All right, can I get a motion to accept tonight's agenda?
Motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Judkins.
A second.
Got a second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
At this time, we'll stand to the pledge. I'll ask Mr. Johnson to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Can I get a motion for approval of tonight's consent agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
We got a motion by Mr. Colwell. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bennett. Got any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, moving on. There is no public comment tonight, so we'll move on to our student advisory report.
All right.
Good evening. Starting with the sports news, archery has their tryouts on November 7th. Being in flag football, the coach would like to say this is seen as thrilling to start at the school. The energy of everyone trying out was contagious. He looks forward to being competitive. The complete roster is included in your packet. Female soccer, they finished the season after playing in the semi-finals over fall break. 4 of our girls got recognized. First team All-District, Amy Garcia and Addison Steele. Second team All-District, Leslie Marafuentes and Chloe Wanamaker. Male basketball. They are getting close to the first official day of practice on November 4th. Senior Aaron Templeton received his first offer to play basketball at Covenant College. They will play 15 freshman dates, 20 JV dates, and 24 varsity dates. They are happy to add JT Morgan, Isaiah Grayson, and Chris Miller to their staff for this season. Volleyball. The Lady Pioneers volleyball team finished their season over fall break at the district tournament. They had 3 girls to earn district honors. Lola Wells and Allie Young were selected to all-district team, and Natalie Payne was selected to the all-freshman team. The Lady Pioneers were also selected by the district as the Sportsmanship Awards winners for this season. Moving on to club news, Beta Club just elected new officers, which you can also see in the packet above. Also, they have welcomed 2 new sponsors, Mr. Jonathan Ivins and Ms. Lucy Nicky. 40 Beta members are expected to attend the state convention next month. Last, the Betas have logged over 1,000 community service hours since June of this year. FCCLA, they're going to Fall Leadership Conference on October 29th, and they are collecting gently used shoes till November 22nd. Multicultural Club, they are currently planning a field trip to see Japanese drums at TPAC. NHS, they're collecting children's books for Hamilton Street Activity Center now through November 21st. The books are to be delivered November 22nd. Student Council, they organized a successful homecoming. Teen Court. Teen Court has 2 cases on the docket to be adjudicated on October 24th. Youth Leadership Warren on Friday, October 18th, Youth Leadership had their History Day. They participated in a downtown scavenger hunt, a trip to Heritage Alliance Museum, and a trip to Cedarwood Pumpkin Patch, and a walking cemetery tour. Art news. Band. The band had many successful performances throughout the season. Their Fair Booth fundraiser and their Tree City Marching Festival that they hosted on September 28th. They were able to put on a successful band festival with 11 bands showing up. This past Friday, October 18th, was their 8th grade football game night, where the band was opened up to all 8th graders band members to come and play with the band in the stands. They also competed this past Saturday October 19th at the Forest Rocket Tournament at Vans in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. They placed second in our class and third overall for the whole competition. Class news. JROTC, the Pioneer Battalion Raider team, has been competing all season and has done quite well, winning everywhere they go. Before fall break, they competed in a second annual Tennessee Tech University JROTC Raider Challenge. All three teams had an outstanding performance. The male placed first overall, while the female team placed first overall while competing in a co-ed division. Teacher Climate Committee. The Teacher Climate Committee would like to thank First National Bank for providing for the high school staff at the Professional Development Day. They also enjoyed celebrating staff birthdays and awarding Students of the Month. September Students of the Month are included in the packet. The Fall Carnival was a success, with several clubs and organizations taking donations for kids of the community. For Student Advisory Committee, we had a topic of our discussion was teachers needing clarification on exemption policy for exams. And lastly, the committee would like to thank Mr. Hobbs for the following. Microwaves are better, daycare windows are fixed, and they are very much enjoying the schedule.
Well, that was quite the report from Hensley. She did a great job.
Yeah, outstanding.
Any questions for her?
Sorry they left you high and dry, make you do it all yourself.
I was gonna say, be nice to her.
That's just gotta say it.
No question at all, but there's a tremendous amount of buzz about this female flag football. I spoke with Coach Martin the other night at the football game. He's pretty stoked about it, so I'm excited to see what the future holds for flag football here in Warren County.
All right, that's it, Mr. Chairman, for advisory, I believe.
All right. Moving on to recognitions.
All right. So we're gonna start with our classified employee of the month. She's gotta come up here. She's not gonna want to, but that's the way it goes. You get nominated for something, you gotta come stand up here with me, so. This is Ashley Russell. She was nominated by Miss Melita Holland. And I'm gonna read what Miss Holland wrote and said, I would like to nominate Ashley Russell for Classified Employee of the Month. Ashley's our janitor who continuously goes above and beyond. She works late to make sure her hallway is looking its best, and she's always willing to lend a helping hand when needed. She greets the faculty and students daily, and she makes everyone feel welcomed and loved. We are forever grateful for Ashley and her always smiling face. So let's congratulate our Classified Employee of the Month, Ms. Ashley Russell. All right, you got to get a picture with me too, I'm sorry. This is no award, really.
Got it.
All right, hold on one more.
Oh, sorry.
Get away. All right, congratulations. And we got a little
We got a
bag
little
for you here with
bag
other
for you.
gifts. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, now you can go sit down and I'm gonna make somebody else come up here. Both of you come, yeah, both of you gotta come.
All right, until
Yeah.
you signed up for that.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, I'll be good to you and I'll read it for you.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah, all right. All right, so Miss Madison McMillan has nominated Miss Heather Williamson for the Certified Employee of the Month for October 2024, and this is what she said. I'm excited to nominate Heather Williamson for Employee of the Month for October. Heather is an incredible teacher who deserves this recognition. Despite facing significant challenges recently battling breast cancer, she has continued to provide unwavering support to our students at Irving College. Her dedication and diligent planning ensure that her students never miss out on a quality education. We are truly fortunate to have Heather as part of our Irving College family, and in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I would love to celebrate her strength and commitment as an amazing teacher. So we will do that today and celebrate Heather Williamson as our Certified Employee of the Month. All right.
Everybody.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yep,
Yes.
you, me
Okay.
too. You don't need. No, there you go. All right.
Okay, ready, 1, 2, 3. Got it.
One more.
Got one.
Okay, did you get it? You good?
Haven't got it yet.
Never mind.
Sorry. Thank you.
All right.
And you as well.
Another gift. There you go.
Thank you.
All right. And I do want to call attention that Mr. Jarvis Johnson got us these pins to remember all the ones that are fighting and those that have fought valiantly, and so we are remembering you all in our prayers, and
Thank you.
we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right.
And we don't need to rush off
But our pink out game is tonight.
It's all right.
They're
There you
expecting
go.
us there.
That's all right. Go on. We do not take offense, I promise.
Thank you, guys. I gotta go.
This is typically when we pause for anybody that would like to not stay for the meat of the meeting, but everybody else is welcome.
Forever hold your peace.
That's right.
All right, we'll move on to facilities and resources.
All right, you're stuck with me tonight. David is at a conference in Jackson, Tennessee. This, I think, can go fairly quickly, but we really don't have any updates on the employee center. The last time we were together, we took a walk through there, and we're down to the punch list items, and every day I think we might get a chance to move in there, but every day I get disappointed. So it may be a little while. We're still waiting on furniture. I am happy to report that the maintenance staff has completed the annex, the addition to what was pre-Pioneer Learning back in several years ago, over behind the baseball field next to the maintenance department. And the annex staff and the students will be moving there on Monday. So we're excited about getting that taken care of. Really appreciate the maintenance staff. Again, they did that work. There were a few things that they had to subcontract out, but they, for the most part, did all that work, and they've done a great job. Really no update on the west basement project. We're still waiting on the fire marshal. Well, we're not waiting on the fire marshal. We're waiting on the fire marshal to approve the submitted plans. So we're still waiting on that. And lo and behold, this week we finally got the full certificate of occupancy at Centertown Elementary. We had been waiting for the new addition. We had a temporary certificate of occupancy, which has obviously allowed us to use that part. But they were waiting on some fire marshal documentation, and just yesterday we got the email for a full certificate of occupancy at Centertown. So happy to answer any questions you have, but that's really all we've got for facilities and resources.
We'll move on to the next. We'll move on to operations report.
All right. So again, we're continuing our tour of schools that are coming to us, and happy to have Morrison Elementary. Miss Kim Cantrell, our principal, is here with us, and we're going to let her tell you a little bit about what's going on in Morrison.
I actually brought Chrissy Farless here with me, and Chrissy's going to be presenting some things that she does in the school. She's very involved with all teachers. It takes us all. But I do want to commend the board for a lot of things that you've done for us the past few years. The raises, that speaks volumes. You know, the safety measures y'all put in place, and just everything we've had instructionally from the district. The support we've had lately has been greatly needed, and we do appreciate all that. So I'm going to let Miss Christy talk about Kindness Club.
Okay. Well, myself and Miss April Murphy are both sponsors of our Kindness Club, and we've had Kindness Club for about 4 years now. And we thought it was important that we started this club to teach the students the importance of kindness, because we know in our world sometimes is not too kind, and that's something that they need to learn. Every August, myself and Miss Valerie Kidwell are co-sponsors of our ELA Family Reading Night, and every year we have a new theme, and this year our theme was One Party, and so we had the August the 22nd, and the students came in. They had 4 stations they could go to, and it was not just putting out books for them to read. It involved about 10 of our faculty members to have our family reading night, and they had 4 stations that they could go to. The planetarium that we got from Tennessee Tech. The students really loved that. They could learn about space, and they got to watch videos about that. Also, we have the Bug Man from the TSU Research Center. He came and brought a sample of bugs native to Warren County and Tennessee. Also, we had a lawn party, so they could play lawn games.
You want to watch?
Sure.
I don't know if you'll have to tell me if I need to advance it, because it just goes on its own.
Yes. Well, this was a student come in and registering, and like we had 4 stations, they could choose 2. At the end, they could win a yearbook or a family fall picture package or different items.
Yep.
And,
Sorry, it's a video, so it'll go.
yeah.
There you go.
These were our 4 stations. The lawn party, they could bring their lawn chair and play games and read books about games. The planetarium from TTU, we're lucky to get that. They watched videos about space and could read books about space. And then Miss Tina Spot from the UT Extension Office came and read the book Tops and Bottoms, and they could make plant people. Also the Bugman from TSU. And 10 staff members worked to get this event off and rolling. I personally worked even during the summer getting this, getting all this planned. So it took a lot of work. This is a picture that shows the most important reason we have Family Reading Night, to get our parents involved and showing their children how important it is to read. And this is one of our kindergarten students reading with her mother, Miss Keela Guthrie. She's a teacher at Warren County Middle School. So her mom really was appreciative of this night. And these are some games that they could play. We were going to play outside, but it was a little bit hot that night, so we Plan B was played in the hallway. So you can see different pictures of students playing with their friends, those lawn games. Also, I chose lawn party as a theme because I want them to know that reading needs to be fun too. So that's a way to incorporate. This was the planetarium we got from Tennessee Tech, and those are some samples of some of the videos. They were able to see 3 different videos. That was probably the most popular station. There was a line, and we had to turn some people away, and some parents were disappointed because they could only have students inside. So they wanted to go inside and see it. Also, one of our teachers, Miss Carrie Stotts, she teaches ELA for 7th and 8th grade. And usually we have difficulty getting our older students to come to reading night. So she gave them extra credit if they came because the 7th graders were covering space as a unit in their ELA class. So I thought that was a good connection. We had several older students come. This was a quote from the paper for one of our students. He said his favorite activity was the planetarium because it was sick.
That doesn't quite mean what it used to.
Yeah, and this is Miss Tina Spot from the UT Extension Office. She came and read Tops and Bottoms, and the students were able to make plant people to take home with them. And also they could read books about plants. We also had one of our former retired educators from Warren County, Miss Carrie Mulliken, that came and helped her out. She's a part of the Master Gardeners. So you can see here, family, parents, and children working together to learn about plants and to make those plant people they can take home. This was our bug man from TSU. There's just some samples of some bugs that he brought. A lot of the parents really enjoyed this too, I think, because they were able to see those plants. They were native to our county. So, and then at the end, of course, they have to be able to take books home. So when they came back to the library at the end, they were able to choose books to take home with them because, after all, we want them to be able to learn that joy of reading. So a lot of them took home several books. And then we had the drawings for a free yearbook, free picture package. The parents wanted them to get that one. So, and then bowling passes. But overall, I think it's important to have this night in August. I know it's hard for us to plan it, but we want to kick off the year showing them how important reading is. So, and we got in the paper, thanks to Kate. So, we hope that they went away learning that learn something about plants, insects, space, and all those fun activities. So, thank you for letting me share.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ms. Marlis, for all the extra work that you guys put in, and it's amazing, you know, how important it is to our kids and what it means to them. So thank you and everybody at Morrison for their extra
I
work.
want to say about Miss Farless, I went to school with her, and I've known her my entire life, and I don't know that you could have picked a better person to lead the kindness. She has been nothing but kind to everyone she's ever met for the 35, 40 years I've known her. So, good job.
All right, thank you guys. In continuing with our updates, and we have Todd Wilmore, who's our Director of Human Resources, and he's going to come talk to you about where we are. He's had a busy summer getting people put where they were supposed to be, and he's done a great job for us since he took over last year, and allow him to give you an update of kind of what's going on.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me. So I was asked just to give you a brief overview of human resources and maybe what touches us, and I thought I would do it from the perspective of a certified teacher. So we'll go through kind of the process when a certified teacher applies and what goes from there. And then I'll touch on a few other things that relate to a lot of folks. So currently we use the My Benefits channel as the platform for our pre-employment process. And one of the nice features about that is that all applicants are streamlined through that. So we see dashboards that kind of gives us status, what they've done, make sure that all things are in place like they should be. And then they have to do that to even be considered for a position. Typically, as most of you guys know, or you know, our positions are created either from newly funded positions or openings, retirements, resignations, things like that. As Dr. Schwalz mentioned, you know, June is historically a really busy month for us, and I'll give you an idea, especially for certified personnel. In June of 2024, we had about 19 certified positions that we posted. Compare that to June of 2023, we had 12. So that's a month that we're extremely busy with certified postings and other postings too, but specifically those. As you guys know, we look at everything from certified staff, but also classified educator positions, school nutrition, substitute teachers, coaching positions, volunteer positions, and even some part-time positions. So a lot going through that dashboard. On the other side, the onboarding portion of it, one of the other benefits from my benefits channel is that it keeps the process running pretty smoothly for the candidate that applies. Once we receive a recommendation from a principal or a supervisor, we're prompted to send them an onboarding invitation. And in that invitation, it'll highlight or detail the process that they need to go through. There'll be things like physical aptitude assessment, fingerprinting assessment, drug screening. They'll be prompted to upload things for verification and like Social Security cards, driver's license, things like that. But again, it keeps us updated. So on this dashboard, we see all of our applicants, all of the people who are in the process of getting ready to work for us. Once the candidates kind of completed all their steps, all their process, we forward the recommendation to Dr. Schwalz for his final approval, and then they're assigned a start date. So keeping with the theme of certified personnel, we'll talk a little bit about licensure. As you guys know, all certified staff are required to hold a valid teaching license. And in an ideal world, or perfect world, they'd have that license in place before they come to us, and we have a lot of those that do that. They've gone through an educator preparation program through Tennessee Tech or MTSU, and they have their license when they graduate. And so what happens is once they have, it's our responsibility to make sure that those licenses are valid, they're up to date, and so we go through a process through TN Compass, which is the Tennessee Department of Education's platform that allows all educators to check their status, see where they are, and that sort of thing. Now, there are possibilities for, as a matter of fact, I went this route. Mr. Bennett, almost 22 years ago, took a chance on me and hired me as a math teacher at the high school, and I had a bachelor's degree, and so one thing that you could do is I taught on a permit, and with that permit you have approximately 3 years to get your licensure in place. So you can do that either through an educator preparation program, through MTSU, Tennessee Tech, Cumberland, UT Martin, whoever you choose to do that with. And then what that does is it'll work toward an advanced degree. So in my case, I worked toward a master's in that, got my teaching certification, was valid to teach. You had 3 years to complete that. Recently, in the last few years, there's another application that's it's through a program called iTeach, and it's basically a 1-year online certification process that allows folks that have a bachelor's degree as a minimum to go through and get their licensure within 1 year, and it's licensure only. It doesn't work toward a master's or an EES degree. So that's been very helpful for a lot of folks, especially it's been so hard. We've had so many positions, and it's throughout the country, not just in Tennessee. So candidates have we've really been searching far and wide to get these candidates, and this is a great opportunity for. As a matter of fact, I recruited one of my former soccer players. I was at a Tech soccer game, and she was there. I asked her what she was doing. She said she wasn't sure. I said, "You'd be a great teacher." And she said, "Well, I don't have a teaching degree." I said, "We can work through that." She's teaching at the middle school right now. Super proud of her. So she's gone through this iTeach and doing a really good job. So the other thing about the academic permanence, as I mentioned, you have 3 years to kind of work through that process and get to licensure. So each year we may have to renew that permit. We can do that up to 3 years, and then it's up to the candidate to kind of finish their program, whatever that might be. So one of the things we do throughout this fall and spring is we'll attend job fairs. Most recently we went to MTSU. I actually went about 2 weeks ago. It was for candidates that will be graduating in December. They had about 65 candidates, all of which are licensed, so that's a positive. We can employ them right away without any kind of hiccup. So I think I met with about 45 of those folks, got some resumes. We've kind of deciphered those, gone through those, shared those with principals, and if something comes up in January, we'll have some good candidates. But we'll be going to Tennessee Tech soon. They've got a really good one in the spring, and we've had really good success with that one. But we also have had luck with some other folks like Cumberland, UT Martin, and UT as well. One of the things that I've been excited about, well, I didn't have anything to do with it as far as setting up, but it was we've kind of hosted our own job fair throughout the last few years in the spring, and it's had excellent success. I'll give you an example. Last spring, we hired 8 certified teachers from our own job fair that attended. All of those are still teaching and doing a good job from what the principals tell us. So super excited about that. A couple of other things that we touch, or human resources touch, that's outside of licensure and teaching is retirement. We talked, for example, went out to Centertown recently and met with 4 teachers who are in the process of getting their retirement in place. So we walked through the process, what it looks like, how to initiate the process, what to expect, what kind of time frame it's going to look like once it gets rolling. So that's through our Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. So that's, once it's initiated by them, we're kind of taken out of that picture, which is fine. But I do like to be able to provide them with some information and at least help them get started on that. we dealt with a number of different types of leaves over the past number of years, but like the Family Medical Leave Act, I'm sure you all are aware of that. It provides our employees up to 12 weeks of leave for things such as maternity leave, surgeries, caring for immediate family members that may be struggling with something. And during this time, employees can use personal days, sick days, unpaid days, or any combination of those. So we use a platform called eFMLA. It's all handled online, super user friendly, easy to do. They'll contact me, let me know what they need or when it's going to take place. We send them a link, they register on that link. We get that information to their healthcare provider. Fills it out, gets it back to us, and we house it in a portal. It's super easy, and people have really enjoyed it. We've had that for about 2 years now. One other thing that's come along in the last 2 years that goes along with the FMLA is the paid parental leave, which allows our employees on maternity leave, also their spouse, if they're meet the requirements and are also employees of the district, it gives them 6 weeks of paid leave. So that's been super helpful for a lot of folks that don't want to take the 12 weeks or may have coordinated when when they deliver and that sort of thing correctly, and they may only take the 6 weeks and then come back to us and not miss a day's pay. So that's been super helpful for a lot of people. And then the last thing or not really the last thing, but one of the last things I'll talk about that kind of touches our department is we have an investigative role in complaints by staff members or by someone toward a staff member, and obviously that's probably the least enjoyable part of what I do. But otherwise, it's been being in athletics for 20-something years, and everybody's thinking you're crazy for doing what you're doing. But it's been a wonderful change for me. Appreciate the opportunity and enjoyed every aspect of it. Look forward to several more years of doing this. So anyway, that's a quick and dirty overview. But if there are questions, I'm happy to try to answer those or do what I can to find out the answer for you.
It's like the unsung hero doing all the work behind the scenes that nobody wants to talk about and know about. So we appreciate all that you do for us.
Honestly, athletic director was the same way. So you didn't do much. You just got it in place and let everybody else take care of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Todd. He does a great job of keeping this moving in the right direction. One of the things that he mentioned, going out to visit those teachers, I mean, that's not something that he necessarily has to do, but he takes it upon himself to go out and visit those teachers and try to help them. And I know those teachers really appreciated that, and I appreciate that service that he's bringing to our employees. So, also tonight, to give you an update of kind of where we are in transportation, Miss Tanya Rader with Durham School Services is here, and I think she's given you a packet of information, but we'll invite her to share a little bit about what's going on. Welcome, Tanya.
Thank you. I did give you a little packet too. That's just for something for you to go over. It was a WebEx we had about charging stations for the new electric buses. I will start off about route info. 2024 school year started off with 55 routes, 49 drivers. We have since added 3 drivers with 2 in training. We are actively recruiting to fill all open spots and have spare drivers. We have 6 casual drivers. Most of them are coaches. We are staffed with 11 aides. We are currently doubling 6 routes due to shortage and medical leaves. We are currently recruiting for drivers with sign-on bonus offered of $1,000 if they have no CDL, no endorsements. $1,500 if they're a CDL holder but no endorsements. And $2,500 if they come fully licensed. That's with a Class B CDL, school bus, and passenger endorsements. We are also offering a $500 referral bonus to employees who send someone to drive. If you know anyone interested, you can send them to the bus shed at 126 Middle School Drive, located by the Warren County Middle School, or they can call 473-8013.
Or call here and we'll direct them.
Yeah, yes. I would like to take a moment to thank parents and students for working with us during our shortage and Dublin situations. It is greatly appreciated. Our Facebook page that we set up last year for information of late buses or down buses has been very useful. Our goal is to keep everyone updated as soon and as much as possible. While we're right there, I want to, let me put this in there. The tragedy this morning, I want to give kudos to the Warren County Sheriff's Department. They called us immediately. I would have had 2 buses in that area. One actually at the stop where the accident took place would have been picking up children. And I want to thank them. I want to thank the good Lord for watching over us, because it could have been a worse tragedy than what it turned out to be. We were able to keep all buses away from that. We rerouted them where they didn't even go in that area. So communication goes a long way. The vehicle info, Durham School Services was awarded the EV grant for 5 electric buses. I'm still waiting on an update of an approximate delivery date, because they did those in stages, groups, I guess you could call it. I will keep you all updated as soon as I'm updated. So that's what I brought y'all, all a little printout of about the charging stations. We had a WebEx where everybody talked about it, went over it. That's just something for you to have to go back to. Durham has also submitted an order for 11 brand new buses. These will be diesel for routes for the 25-26 school year. As of today, they are in the approval stage. Should be approved next week, so I'll have an update on the process. But they should, usually when we order those like that, we at least get them by September of the next school year. And of course, safety, as always, is our main goal. We want to get your children to school safely, on time, and ready to learn, and then get each child back home safely. Please feel free to reach out to us if we can be of any service to you. And I had jotted my own little note down here. Ray called me yesterday or the day before. We do have 3 buses that's sitting outside the gate. One of them is waiting on some parts because it has body damage that we have to repair before it can roll. 2 of those were buses being cascaded from another location to another location in Durham that broke down in transit. They've been at our facility. They have been sold for 1 year. However, no one has showed up to get them yet. So I did call my corporate office because I have some homeless people that are trying to make homes out of them. So to deter that, the company's reaching out to them. They have till next Friday. If they're not here to get them as of next Friday, we will have them towed to Jeff's Towing, where he will charge them a daily rate to keep the buses there till they pick them up. And while I'm covering those, we do have several buses parked at Bobby Ray. Those are district buses that are out of service and are ready to be sold. I also have 2 or 3 on my lot still that are ready to be sold too. Just, I know that some of them run, some of them are in good shape. I mean, as far as they're just aged out and mild out, and we can't use them anymore. But I wanted to let y'all know about that because I sure didn't want that to become an issue and it on school grounds for the homeless people. Does anybody have any questions?
When you say aged out, mild out, what's the age and mileage for that?
17 years and 200,000 miles, over 200,000 miles.
Tony, how many did you say there were?
Jeffrey wasn't exactly sure. There was either 7 or 8 at Bobby Ray. One of those is one of my buses. I just didn't have room on my lot for it. I will move that one. And then there's 2 or 3 on the lot still that need to be sold. Mr. Barrett always, I had communication with him. I'm not sure who took his place, but I don't have their number to reach out to them and get the process going, so I thought I would just bring that up here.
Yeah, thank you for letting us know. We'll get in touch with you on that.
When you speak about the EV buses, what range does the EV bus have?
I think it was in this packet here, depending on the charging
Yes,
station, right?
yes.
Yeah, depending on the charging
You
station.
would ask me that question.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah,
I
so-
do know that some of them have a shorter route, so it'd be difficult to use them on,
Yeah.
like, some of the county routes. I was just wondering, would they just be utilized for, like, city routes, or what?
Most, I can assure you, all 5 of ours will be, only because most of all my county route are park outs.
Okay.
So I can't put charging stations
Right.
at their homes. So yes, they will be used in town.
And we received communication this week. They're working with McMinnville Electric, they're gonna come and do a site visit from what I read, to look and see about the charging stations again. So, we've been down this road before, we're picking it back up, and we'll see where we land with this one.
You think those charging stations will be there at the bus shed? Is that what
Well,
we're planning, or do they know?
That's
Well,
why
we're
I'm saying we've
tapped.
been down this road. That's
Yeah,
where
I
we
was gonna say,
want
you
it
don't
to
have
be.
room, right?
The problem is we don't know that there's enough load to get
Right.
there, so,
Still a lot to.
that's why they're coming to do a site visit.
You know,
and
we
see
all
what-
have dreams. I was telling Ray before it started, my dream right over here on Morrison Street, that used to be a factory and a block company,
Mhm.
would be fabulous. I wish the county owned it so we could have it.
Power minute.
Yeah, because it has a lot of, it's got in and out and training area, but we make do. Does anybody have any more questions?
Thank you. Thank you for all you're doing.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
And I'm gonna slip out too. It's been a long day.
We're really not gonna take it personally, are we? All right, last update, Ray Robinson with our school safety, our security coordinator. I'll let him talk to you a little bit about what he's been doing over the last couple months.
Good evening, everybody. So I want to start where Tanya left off. And I want you to think about 2 years ago. Are we talking about safety in a different way? Because 2 years ago, would you have heard anybody say, I've got homeless people trying to get in buses? You probably did, but nobody was talking about it. So we're doing a good job. We're talking about safety. We're learning about safety. We're talking about all the things that go along with it. I'm going to use, I should call you Mr. Johnson, but I'm going to call you Jarvis, because Jarvis and I work together every day. Safety is something that's very important. It's ever changing. It changes on a weekly basis. You can't, what you were comfortable with last week, next week may change. So that's where we're at now. Have you noticed your schools? Are they cleaner? Do they look better? The better you present yourself, the stronger you look. Think about your athletic teams. Think about any business, the way it presents itself. That's very important. Training, our teachers. You had some great staff here earlier that clean floors, that teach classes. All of those are super important, and that's what we're teaching to our principals now. That's what we're talking about. That's what Jarvis and I hold to with every discussion we have in the schools and out of the schools about train your staff. Have them understand what their role is. And we're doing a good job at that. We're learning, we're growing. We're doing things like Stop the Bleed class. You know what? We may never use Stop the Bleed. Joey Clark's with the ambulance service, he does a great job. I love teaching with him. We may never use it in the classroom, but you know what? They may need it at Walmart on Saturday morning. Somebody, a can of pickles could fall off and cut a gash in your leg, and you could be bleeding to death. And it works. So we're still doing a lot of training. We're doing a lot of revamping. We're looking at the way we do our business. We're talking about the way we set up classrooms. We're talking about the way that we approach the playground. We're talking about all these things, the way the school looks. and we're letting teachers know that we care. That's the number one thing. They've got to know that it matters. We're very passionate about safety. And again, I look at Jarvis. You know what? One of the questions I ask in the principal's update for tomorrow, if you were to ask 10 people, how do we make our schools safer, how many answers do you think you'd get? You know what? You'd probably get 8, 9, maybe 7. There's different ways, but we all work together. We work together towards safety. And even when we disagree on something, we come to an agreement and we're a team when it's all said and done. So that's kind of where we're at. We're still working with all of our constituents around. We're working with the local churches. If we have, as an example, we're going to make a reunification area as a church building. We try to make sure that we know the pastors, the elders, the preachers at those buildings, because that's going to be important if we need to use those. We did a reunification drill last year. I think we were all excited about that. I think we all seen some things that we wanted to do different and better. So that's a good thing about what we do. So with that said, I'm gonna hush, and I want you to talk. I want you to tell me, ask me the questions that may be trying in your mind.
Ray and Dr. Swallows may be able to answer this as well. We have a company that we partner with in Trotto. It's the safety people that does the apps and the locking system. In researching that, they have within their infrastructure a program that if our teachers go through, I think it's a 2-hour video training, that they can have an app on their phone and they could notify us immediately if there is a incident anywhere in the building. It gives us, I think it's a 3-foot radius of wherever they hit the phone. I know, heaven forbid, something were to happen like it did in the last school shooting that made national news, but the reason why they could stop that so quickly is because they wore a wearable device that they pushed the button. And but this would allow every adult with a cell phone in the school system, with the infrastructure we already have, once going through that training, they could hit that app and it would notify our first responders where to go. I guess my question is, when can we have that video training so we could incorporate that app and make that available for all our staff?
I think it's ready to go at any time. There, over the course of the last 2 years, there's been lots of vendors that have had panic buttons in different areas. One of the things that we have incorporated is Navigate 360. They have an alert on their device as well. So talking to Eddie Hatfield, Eddie was one that got with Entrado and brought that in. We ultimately just have to get that video, it's available, and get it out to buildings leaders and allow them to train with it, because just watching the video is one thing, but being able to effectively use it and not cry wolf, for a lack of a better term. We all hit buttons on our cell phones sometimes, and we don't want to get into that situation, so we need to get them into training.
From my understanding, there is a training for the staff level and administrative team that, from what I've read, is like 2 hours long, so I don't know if we could incorporate that in the countywide in-service. But we do, I agree, need to have training that they don't hit that button because someone's throwing paper wads,
right.
You know.
Yeah.
So if we could get that done, I think that'd be a great step towards safety.
And to that end, I think one of the things that, as we manage the systems moving forward, you look at, as you bring new systems in, you look at how can these systems mesh together. As an example, the Navigate 360, there's a lot of tools in that we can use even for transportation. So I think as we grow, as we make our way down this safety lane, as it were, we start meshing these systems together. I get calls about panic buttons, even me. I know Dr. Swallows has to be, because that must be the one of the key selling things out there today.
Well, the good thing about the Entrada, we've already got the infrastructure. It's already there. We just have to push out this training and then make sure they know when to press the button, like you said.
Yeah, and really know which product does what.
Yes.
That's one of the issues we have, and just like Ray said, I wish there was a one-stop piece of equipment that we could just say, here, teachers use this, but right now, it's not there. There are a number of different, the Raptor system that we've got for visitor management. There's all those different things. So again, trying to get teachers aware of, okay, which app do I go to in a panic, or which app do I go to do this? And so we've got to try to streamline that. And that's one of the things, Ray came in a couple of years ago and has been working with you all to help do that. And Mike is now also helping from the district level too. So there's been a lot of focus on it. There will always continue to be new things out there, but we just want to be able to let them know what they need to do in those situations.
I do want to bring to you one of the new programs that we're doing, and it's actually, it doesn't cost us anything, but it's a great program. It's called Handle with Care. I thought maybe Jarvis might mention it because he and Zach Little and myself, we actually went to Nashville to meet some folks that helped us with Handle with Care. So Handle with Care is a very simple program where our first responders in Warren County, plus the patrol, they've been trained, and every time they come in contact with a child, that data is going to Nashville and being sent back to the principal. It goes to Jarvis, it comes to me, Mike gets it, Mr. Mike Mansfield. And you know what? Before that child ever gets in school that morning, their teacher, their principal, and the support staff, part of the support staff, we're going to know that that child had trauma. And you know what? When that child walks in and we can tell that something's wrong, that's a great opportunity for us to be able to help a child just by saying, you know what? That child had trauma overnight or over the weekend. We've had many more than I thought we would have. We're upwards in the 40s now over the last 2.5 months where children, our students, have had some sort of interaction with, or their families, interaction with either ambulance, police, sheriff's department, fire department, something.
All right, any more questions for Ray?
I was just curious about the lighting at night.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been anybody walk around the buildings and?
Yes, sir. There's actually a spreadsheet. Mr. Mansfield has that. Those are being worked on. We know that we have a number of lights that are needing to be repaired. I wish Mr. Cantrell was still here. Last year, Morrison had several lights along the side street that were out. We couldn't get parts. So it took several months to get the parts in to fix those. I have been to every facility and finished the lighting survey. If you'll notice, except for, I did not do this at Dibble, but all pole lights, if you see a piece of black tape around them, those are the ones that have been identified as being needing repair. So they're working on that. To the lighting issue, the timers, most of our schools are on timers, and we're making sure that we reset that timer to accommodate the early darkness now. So it's being worked on, yes, sir.
You mentioned repairing lights that are not functional currently. What about look at installation of new lights and where they are absent?
If we identify some areas, certainly, as an example, east side, there were some areas identified out there, and then there's still others. So the nursery, the little building beside the gym now that we can grow nursery in, that's kind of a darker area. So we're going to have to look at that. That will be something as far as maintenance. Mr. Norcutt, he will look at that and how we can improve those matters as well. So yes, we look at all of it. So we definitely want to make sure that our buildings are lit and especially where the people are gonna be. We don't want any crime or anything being broken into. And the state standard, one of the state standards is that we be able to see, through the cameras, that, at night, we should be able to identify the person through those cameras, and that takes lighting. And good cameras, very good cameras.
I personally like the photo cells better than I do timers because you don't have to worry about setting them or that type.
Certainly, absolutely. We have had to replace some of those. Some, they go out over time, but yes, sir, yes, sir. For some reason, a lot of schools are on timers. I'm not sure what I don't know, but I know that's the way our schools, many of them are built.
I think it's an energy efficient thing when school's not in session, you can adjust, you
Could-
get more control over those timers during the summer.
Sure,
and
could
when it
be.
breaks and stuff. But
Sometimes you see the lights on during the daylight hours and they don't need to be on.
Yes, sir, that's correct. I totally agree, totally agree.
Do we need to update the cameras in our schools?
Well, I think the cameras are being updated. I think we're working on that project, and I think that is a continuous project. I know I'm looking at Dr. Swallows, and he's shaking his head, yes. Eddie is constantly working on cameras, Eddie and Greg Pope. They're working on getting the newest technology. Unfortunately, as we grow, the places grow that needs cameras, and you have to replace them. You replace them as you identify those spots. I know the high school has had a pretty big project out there with cameras. I don't know how many's been added, but I do know that there was some identified that needed to be added.
Well, and the unfortunate process with that is by the time you get through with that project, the latest and greatest is out and you need to upgrade again. So
Sure.
it's a constant project to where we're going. But the high school is actually in the process we talked about today of adding some more cameras.
So if no more, I simply want to say thank you to giving me the opportunity to work with not just our teachers, but our children. That is our greatest resource. They're going to do great things. We just got to give them a chance, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with not only you, but the teachers and the children.
We appreciate you and the knowledge you have.
Thank you. I'm gonna leave too, so.
At least we're consistent.
I'll see you early in the morning. I will be somewhere, but I'm
Yeah.
not gonna tell you where.
I was gonna say that he doesn't check the lights at night. It's at an unholy hour before daybreak. All right, so on to some business items. You have in your packet a petition that has been submitted to you as a board that deals with Warren County Professional Educators Collaborative Conferencing. So that's dealing with the act that was passed several years ago. It's PECA for short. Collaborative conferencing is also something that's happened with this board on more than one occasion. And we actually just came out of a 3-year agreement with them a year ago. They surveyed, because it was active at that time last year, they requested that we survey our certified employees. We did that, and there was no majority that wanted to continue with collaborative conferencing. So that stopped last year, but they have now submitted a petition to you again to establish a special question committee. All right, and so that special question committee will take and go through a very defined process by the act that says that you define you organize a special question committee. That special question committee meets and determines how to survey the certified employees. There are 2 questions or 3? 2 questions, only 2 questions, and so we've done this before. We feel like it's fairly straightforward, but you must, as a board, accept their petition and vote to establish the special question committee. I would like to make a recommendation, if you would allow me, that we do just a special question committee made up of 3 people, one board member, One of the folks that submitted the petition, Dorian Leffler, who is the president of WCEA. And then, even though he doesn't know it yet, Josh Thaxton, I'd like to establish him on that committee so that he can be involved in the survey that potentially could come forward. And just so that you know, as a board, I also asked Mr. Chairman Cope, now that he's got a little bit more time on his hands, if he would be willing to serve on the Special Question Committee. So again, that's my recommendation to you, those three, but that's for your action tonight. Robin, anything I missed?
No, and actually Josh Thaxton would be just there sort of because he would have potentially, assuming they want to do a survey through the internet like we did in the past, he would have the resources to be able to connect that. And one of the things that would indicate maybe you want a smaller committee is just because this process has to be done, the election has to be done, and the results have to be back and presented to the board, you know, by, I think, December 2nd. So, and we have a whole week off, you know, so the less people that have to logistically meet is probably gonna make that go a little faster, and then Josh would be able to give them maybe some clarification on if they have a certain way they wanna do it, or they have questions about how they wanna make that poll accessible.
So it says in this letter that we're obligated to the equal number
Yes.
of whatever professional employees. Who gets, do we get to pick that number, or do they say what we
You
do?
get to
Okay.
pick it, but if it's one board member, then it would be
Only
one
one member, okay.
professional. If, you know, it's
I just make sure we got to
one,
make that determination. Or
If
they
there are
do.
two board members, there would be,
They would get to
two
pick, yeah,
professionals.
okay.
Right, and that's up to y'all.
So Josh wouldn't really be on the committee.
No,
He would just
it's
be
more of a
there for
resource.
the
More of a
resource.
resource.
Okay.
Advisory.
Alright. So can we get a motion? I'm gonna make a motion on the special question committee.
I make a motion based on Dr. Swallow's recommendation for the three individuals.
Two and an
plus
advisory.
yes.
Yep.
Alright, so we have a motion. Can we get a second? The motion is, Dr. Swallow's recommendations of a two-member committee on this special question committee. One of the board member, one of the committee from the Warren County Education Association. We got a second by Mr. Johnson. Got any discussion over this? Alright, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alright, any opposed? Alright, motion carries.
All right, thank you. Next item on our agenda is the LEA compliance report. If you'll, this is in front of you, and it looks like this. It is not in your electronic packet. I apologize. If you can see this, this is a compliance report that is required by the Department of Education every year. And so there are two questions that it asks. I certify that the LEA is in compliance with all federal and state education laws and SBE rules, or I certify that with the exception of the areas indicated in the attached corrective action plan, the LEA is in compliance with all federal and state education laws and SBE rules. I'm submitting this report for your approval tonight. Actually, we are checking the second box, and I'm also submitting a corrective action plan because we were determined over the summer to have had some employees that had not updated their background checks and their fingerprinting. And so we began that process and have whittled that number down to very few, but we still have very few. So we are working on getting that taken care of. I believe, if I'm right, most of these employees, all of these employees had a background check, but if you remember, the law was passed that you have to do that every 5 years now, and so they've not updated their background check. So we have a few employees that are still waiting to do that. I don't feel like we need to be able to, we need to make sure that we get that taken care of, but we have to submit this compliance report before December, and I'm not sure that it'll be done before then. So again, submitting that to you tonight for your approval of the LEA compliance report with the corrective action plan. All right, can I get a motion to accept?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Mr. Bennett. We got a second by Mr. Brown. Any discussion over this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, the next item is something that I'm bringing for your consideration tonight is, is that in the packet, the flyer?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a flyer in your packet, TSBA BOE Connect program. As I asked you to rifle through papers, and then also based on one of the recommendations that you all received as a board from last year's visiting board members, they talked about making your materials available and more streamlined. And Dina does a fantastic job of giving you a board packet and getting you all the information, but she also has somebody that says, hey, we need to give this and put it on their table at the last minute. I'm not sure who that person is, but this program that TSBA offers, the BOE Connect program, is something that would allow us to, you as a board, to be truly electronic. It's in your board packet that was sent there. There's a video that I will show you that will connect with that. Forgive the pun, but I'm going to let you watch this.
Change the way your board does business. Eliminate unnecessary paperwork and access your board meeting materials anywhere at any time with BOE Connect. BOE Connect is an online service designed specifically for school boards. Members can access board meeting materials from any device, on-screen attachments, and user-friendly tools that allow members to prepare for meetings with ease. With a simple click, documents are open and ready to go. Users can easily locate information from current and past board meetings. No more time-consuming, tedious searches through mounds of paper. Everything we do as a board is now paperless. The turnaround on our minutes is next day ready. We have eliminated several individuals handling our meeting records, showing a significant savings. BOE Connect reduces the workload for school district staff. The board secretary and administrators can easily create an electronic meeting, from developing the agenda to creating the minutes and everything in between. The system is user-friendly and is much easier than standing at a copier preparing packets. My board members like the fact that the board books aren't taking up valuable storage space in their homes. A win-win for everyone. BOE Connect provides templates, reports, actions, calendars, and more on a secure, user-friendly platform. Information can be easily shared with your community through a public page linked to your school district website. It even provides links to policies, rules and regulations, TSBA resources, and anything else you need during board meetings. Contact TSBA support and training team for more information.
So this is something that's provided through TSBA.
Change the way your board does business.
Sorry. And I think you as a board should consider that, especially in what the recommendation was from that committee, in being able to provide minutes, provide agendas that can be linked to. Also, all documents can be loaded into that. Honestly, Dina, as the board secretary, can drive the meeting. You can follow her from her computer. She could pull up documents straight from the website so that you could see, and it would be a much more streamlined, flowing process through that. So I think it's a good thing. The initial fee would be $3,500, and that includes training for you as a board and establishing all of that, and then there would be a fee that would follow after that for a yearly rate. So there's different options you can take. One, you can vote to accept that, and we can try to enter in with TSBA to get that training and enter into a contract. You would need to approve that contract once again, but I felt like I needed to bring it to you so that you can express your either desire to do it or desire not to do it, up to you. And then secondly, you could, if you would like to have more information, they would be happy to come train you before we enter into that contract, if you would prefer to do that. I know we're going to a training or going to a conference in a couple of weeks. I'm sure they would be happy to give you an overview of it then. I simply wanted to bring it to you tonight for your information, let you look at it, see the brochure, see the video, and then let this board decide how you want to proceed.
if, the initial fee is $3,500. Okay, if we join it, what's the fee after?
I don't have that written down.
3,000.
Okay, is it in the packet? So it's 3,000 every year after
Okay.
that, yeah. So so obviously not very good in math, but it's $500 for the training, so.
Well, does anyone want to take a motion on this and we can discuss it if we want to present a motion on accepting this, and then we can discuss it and vote on it before. Let's see what the option is.
Or you can not make,
Or
you
not
can
do
not take
anything
any
at all
action
then.
and just direct if you want more training. That's totally up to you. I just feel like this is something that, based on the recommendation that you all received about being able to get more information out and then be a little more streamlined for you, that this was a good option for you.
I personally like to see us do the training and then see how it flows.
That would be my thoughts.
Yeah, mine as
Yeah.
well.
All right.
I do think that, and I'd also like to ask her what she, how
Oh,
she
absolutely.
feels.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think it'd be great. I mean, but I'm perfectly fine doing it the way we are, you guys are, but like they gave us the recommendation of, you know, putting all the consent items out there, and it might just be an easy way for the public to see. I think there's 2 separate logins for you guys, and then there'd be one for the public, that you could see all the materials before the meeting. So it may streamline all of that.
There are permissions that you can give for every document. You can make it public, you can make it board only, you can make it attorney only, you can make it it's one of the most powerful tools I've ever seen as far as being able to streamline meetings and agendas like that. But I'm happy to get with TSBA to set up a time. We would have to, now they might be able to do it at the convention. I doubt it. They would probably want to do something virtually with you as a board. And I'm happy to set that up if that's the way you all would like to go forward.
I think that's the recommendation of the board.
Sounds good. Then I wouldn't take any action tonight.
Okay. All right.
Just a little question, if you're aware, or if you know, yes or no, you know that the platform allow for basically discussions to be made, or any type of like questions to be put in, or notes put into the.
You can make your own notes.
Okay.
It will not allow you to discuss.
You
can't
not discuss
You can't
necessarily,
discuss
but you,
electronically.
okay, I didn't know if there was like a.
You can make your own notes, and there are stickies that they call them stickies, to where you can click on an agenda item, make your own notes, and have that so that when you go through the agenda,
Okay.
you can be able to call your notes back. For me, I tried to do this electronically and failed, so I have tons of paper.
Mhm.
So as you go through the agenda, I would make my notes electronically so that I could be able to call that back during a meeting and have much more information than I would trying to rifle through a bunch of papers.
Okay, I guess discussion was definitely the wrong term. I was thinking more along the line of just if you have a specific question about that, or are the notes that I make only visible to me, or
Yes.
can I make those shareable?
Both.
Okay, you can make
You can
both.
both, but again, that does not allow for discussion between board
Right.
members. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. They, one of the, again, I kind of go back to what, I mean, it actually can record your vote electronically. And so her compiling minutes and all the things that go with that will be almost instantaneous. So it's a really powerful tool. But we will get you some training on that and let you go from there.
Sounds good. All right, moving on to curriculum and achievement. Dr. Swallows.
All right, there are 3 policies that are up for your consideration tonight. The first 3 will go through the full 2 reading process. So the first one is 4.605. That is around graduation requirements. This is coming from an update because the high school has moved to a traditional block system, but not necessarily that. It's actually because their students are now, prior to moving to this, they were eligible to have 7 credits every year. So a total of 7 times 4 would be 28. Now they have the opportunity to do 32 credits once we get to the class of 2028. So what this board policy explains is that in order to graduate, a student has capacity minus 4. All right, so the capacity of the number of credits they have available to them minus 4 would be what would be required for them to graduate. So if it could be, it would be 28 at Warren County High School. It would be 22 at Warren Connect. At the Annex, it would be something different. It would be their capacity minus 4. All right. So further on in that policy, there's also a explanation of an early graduation option that we've not really had before, and so it's outlined specifically in that policy what a student would have to do to potentially early graduate in December, and they would have that option now that traditional block is available, and not even necessarily on traditional block. They could do that at Christmas. They could be granted their transcript. They could be granted their diploma. They might not want their diploma. They may want to come back and participate in the graduation ceremonies. In that case, we would hold their diploma until May, and they would walk with their class at that time. So that's really kind of a high-level overview of that policy. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. And Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you want to go through all of these, but I think it's probably should take them one by one to vote on.
Okay. Do you think we need to read those? Full read or just?
Up to you.
So we'll do. Pull back up here. We got a motion to accept policy 4.605 for graduation requirements.
Motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Brown. Can we get a second?
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Colwell. Any discussion over this policy over graduation requirements?
I think that, of course, this is the first time we've seen this thing with 28 here. I realize that they do have the opportunity to get a 32.
Mm-hmm.
But two or three things that I'm thinking about is that if they get the regular required subjects and then they're looking to, on their focus area, to get their electives, and if those electives classes is already full, then will they just be placed in anything and not be able to get the elective class they wanted?
Not necessarily. If it's their focus area, they have to get it. They have to get three classes in that focus area. So if they choose an area of focus, then they have to be able to get those 3 credits. So there are required courses, the 4 English, 4 math, all of those, but as a part of that are the 3 areas of focus. Now, some of their electives after that, it would depend on space or whatever that they're able to do in their time. But that's why there's a capacity minus 4. Technically what it is saying is that a student could fail up to 4 classes and still graduate. We obviously hope they don't do that.
Correct.
But that's also where early graduation might come in.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, because I didn't want it to, when they got to their electives, if they had an elective that they really wanted to be in and that class was full and they didn't get it, then they were putting something else. I didn't want to see that we would have an unhappy camper in there.
Right.
So that would, to me, could line them up to subject to fail that class.
Yeah. And again, I think that we try to alleviate that when we can. I think there's probably times where a kid might sign up for driver's ed, and because of space limitations, they don't get that and they have to choose another elective. But for the most part, I think we do okay getting them in those courses.
All right, any other discussion over this policy? All right, all in favor say aye. Any opposed?
For first reading.
That's on
This
first
is for
reading.
first reading, okay.
All right, the next one is graduation activities. That's 4.606. And you can see the red line change. It's changing from students who do not wish to participate in graduation activities shall notify the school principal in writing at least 30 days prior to the day of graduation. Prior to this consideration, it was 5 days, and so we're simply asking you to move that back so that there's more notice of a student that does not wish to participate in graduation activities.
All right, can I get a motion for approval of first reading for policy 4.606?
Motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Johnson. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Judkins. Any discussion over this? All right, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
All right, also on first reading for your consideration, policy 6.4052, and I'm going to have to ask Robin to help me with this one, but this is something that Sonia Walker has worked on fairly considerably related to Narcan and some of the things that are available to us as a school now that have to be governed by policy. So Robin, you want to explain any of that?
Well, we had a new law this year that says that if we must allow someone to bring their own Narcan to school. We can't prohibit that from happening. And so I think that, and I would say that Mr. Johnson might know more than I do about this, but I know that Sonia had some discussion with him about the feasibility and the desirability to have Narcan in the school because, of course, we are always concerned with the state of our society, how it is, that we sometimes have accidental or intentional exposure, and that would be a life-saving situation. I think my understanding is if it is administered to somebody who is not having overdose due to OxyContin or something of that variety, it does nothing to them, so it's not going to harm someone. I know that Sonia has been, one reason we wanted to do this one particularly in 2 readings is, number one, we thought you guys might have some discussion about this, and also because there is going to be some required training for staff, and I think it is a fairly short training, but in order to have the Narcan available, we are required to give training to the folks like the safety teams at the schools that would need to be able to utilize that, and we also have to get it placed in a spot that it can be used in an emergency situation, so that's available to folks. So Sonia does have the Narcan available now. She does have the boxes. I think there has to be some signage, but we need to get those ordered and done, and we need to be able to get them placed or get them ready to place, and we need to have some training so that on day one that we have a policy, we can actually do it, because we don't want to be in a situation where we pass a policy saying that we've got this available and something, God forbid, something would happen and we wouldn't have it. So all that to say, this gives us an opportunity to see your interest if you do want to pass this policy, to make sure that we can get it ready to go. You know, as soon as the policy's passed, we'd be ready to go. And Sonia thinks that she can get that done. Now, there might be a little tiny bit of lag time, but we would know that by the next board meeting, which is a little bit more than a month from now. I think it's December the 2nd.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted to do it in 2 readings, and also just to get y'all some more information so you have a chance to look at it and see if there's any changes. We're basically doing the policy as TCBA has sent it out as a model that just follows the law and says, you know, if you're going to have it, you need to have it accessible, you need to be trained.
TSBA, you said TCBA.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't even catch that.
It's okay.
It's
Tennessee
an
Code
acronym.
annotated. She's combining TSBA and TCA. So
And the Tennessee School Board of
that's right.
Board Attorneys, yeah.
All right, so can we get a motion on approval of first reading for policy 6.4052? We've got a motion by Mr. Johnson. Can you get a second?
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Colwell. We got any discussion over this?
Part of the reason why I feel like this is important is right now all your school resource officers do have Narcan, but we are more than likely the ones that's going to have to encounter this, and we could be the ones that are affected. So if we go down, we're not going to administer it to ourselves. So we need other people in the building that have that capability.
So when it says in here that, each school will have 2 unlocked, but they're still gonna be in a secure location, nurse's
Yeah,
office,
so
or?
she said today she's gonna put them in the same location as our AEDs. So that you'd have access, but that they would somewhat be away from the
The
public.
student, okay.
Yeah,
And
Student
also,
population.
I think Eppies are there too.
I believe that's right, yeah.
That'd be
They're
big.
close by, and the thing about the AEDs, the defibrillators, they have alarm on them
Yeah.
whenever you open it up, so it's gonna notify someone that someone's opening it.
No, it's not in the same exact case,
Hmm.
just as a point of clarification.
Okay.
It's gonna be next to
Well, this, yeah, okay.
that.
Okay.
All right, any more discussion over this? Any questions? All right. We've got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries for approval on first reading.
All right, the last policy for your consideration, and you actually passed this on first reading at the last meeting, so this would go into effect if you pass it tonight on second reading, is policy 4.600, the grading system. If you will remember, you are simply updating a policy that's required by law that says you cannot have a grading scale that does not include the option for a 0. So you are you're just following state law if you pass this tonight.
All right. So can I get a motion for approval of policy number 4.600?
So moved.
We got a motion by Mr. Bennett, and a second by Mr. Jokins. Any discussion over this? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion, any opposed? Motion carries. All right. That wraps up curriculum and achievement. Any other business is needed or requested? Our next meeting will be combined November, December, which will be on December 2nd. So can I get a motion to adjourn? So get a motion by Mr. Jacobs and a second by Mr. Caldwell. All in favor say aye. All right.
On to the next meeting.
On to the next one.